I'd like to call this meeting to order on September 24th, 2025 at 5:34 p.m. I know we got a lot of participants on our Zoom call already. If you could, if everyone could mute themselves for a minute while we get organized here for the Zoom call so we don't hear background noise, it'd be appreciated. Okay. Public participation, item number 2. Ann, did we have anyone who wrote into us prior to the meeting?
We did not.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay, we got a lot of participants here, so I'm going to try to go in order here. I don't know who joined at what time, but I did notice that Marie, I'm sorry for pronouncing it incorrectly, Milliken, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. She was the first to join our meeting if she's looking to speak.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
Marie, are you there?
This meeting is recorded.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next name that I saw. The title under it, I don't see a name, but it's Mama G.
Come on.
No, I want to. I see.
If everyone could please mute themselves that's not speaking on the meeting, that'd be appreciated.
I'm muted.
Some of the
Mama
background
G.
noise.
Sandra Grover.
Yes.
Jay.
Yeah.
Yes, if you could.
I'm having a
If you
hard
could
time
please-
hearing with the feedback.
I know. If you could please introduce yourself with your address, please. And you could
Sandra and Michael Grover, 16 Traverse Street.
begin. Sure. Go ahead whenever you're ready.
Michael and Sandra Grover, 16 Traverse Street.
Yep.
Oh, we're just joining the meeting to hear about the improvements that are slated for Middlesex Court. I'm not sure if a vote's being taken tonight, but we just wanted to be able to cast our vote if it was happening tonight. Thank you.
Yep, okay, no problem. All right, just trying to get through this list here. Sorry, I know there's a lot of people in here. Jonathan Currier, I see you on here. You want to speak, you're more than welcome to. Please introduce yourself with your address. Okay. Can always come back to them. Joe C. I have here, or let's see, hold on.
Chris, I think that's me. You can skip me.
Yeah, no, I know. Jetmir, I believe, is the next name.
Yes, sir. Right here.
If you could please give us your address and introduce yourself, and you're
Yes,
more than welcome to speak. The floor is yours.
Jetmir Bertopi, 2 Middlesex Street, Wakefield, Mass. Unit B.
Okay. Feel free. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Did you not have anything to say, sir?
I mean, that's what we're here for, right? And Jonathan is coming right now. John, they were asking about you too.
Okay. Did you guys have anything to say, or were you
I mean,
watching the meeting?
about the project?
We're at the public participation point, so I'm giving the floor to anyone that's joining the call that would like to say anything in regards to tonight's agenda.
No, not really. Just drainage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no problem. I just wanted to make sure you had a chance to speak. I can go to the next
Thank
person.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. Let's see. Next on the list.
Mr. Chair, if I can, I mean, we could probably move into the presentation and see if folks have questions after. That might make sense.
That's fine too. There was a bunch of them coming in. I was trying to get through them, but I can certainly move to item number 4 and skip over. go over the drainage betterment, or do you want to skip right over the town meeting wetland?
No, I think
bylaw?
with all the folks on, let's go betterment, I think.
Okay.
Yes, most of the folks are here for that.
Okay, let's move to item number 3 then, the drainage betterment. Do you want to take the floor, Bill?
Yeah, so I have Eric Sherman here from my office, who is taking the lead on the betterment design and the plan for fall town meeting. So we have requests from the folks at Middlesex Court and Middlesex Avenue. Is it Avenue? Right. Where they have a street, and they have a pretty bad drainage situation at that intersection. They have reached out to the engineering division to come up with a solution for the drainage, and we have come up with a solution, and we have met with them out on the site, and we also have priced out the project. So Eric will kind of take the lead to show the design, kind of pricing, options on how the betterment process works, and if we get a majority to move the project forward, we would bring it to the 2025 fall town meeting. Eric, it's all you.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Chris, can you have me share my screen?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me just make sure.
You on mute now?
Let's see.
Usually you just have to claim host, Chris.
Yep, I already am the host,
Okay.
so I just got to give him permission.
Cool.
Let's see. I'm on my phone, so it's a little different.
You can hit mute. Just hit mute that. And let them just talk.
Eric, you should be able to now.
Can you see
can
my
see it, Eric.
presentation? Huh?
Yeah, we can
Yep,
we can see it.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
It was coming up different on my screen. All right. So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So as you can see, as Bill mentioned, the residents of Middlesex Street were coming in to ask to do some drainage improvements on their road, and since it's a private road, we have to follow through the betterment process, similar to what we usually do for roadways. But in this case, we're specifically looking at drainage. The area that they're concerned about is at the intersection of Middlesex Street and Middlesex Court, which is to the right side of the locus over here. And the drainage ultimately would be to go from there, from the intersection down Middlesex Court towards Traverse Street. So, like Bill mentioned, we have had a couple of public outreach meetings with the residents. Part of that is the town bylaw that allows us to go through this process where we can improve the drainage on the street. It's according to town bylaw 175-10. The whole betterment procedure is listed out here. I don't have to go into all the details. I've kind of gone through with the residents before. It all starts with a petition that in this case started with Mr. Courier over at 2 Middlesex Street. He got more than half the people on the street to sign a petition to have us look at this and see what we can do for an improvement. We've gone back and forth on some discussions. We've looked at the road. We've come up with a scope and a cost, and that's where we are tonight to present this to the advisory board. Hopefully this gets approved tonight, and then we can move forward with our approval to proceed, which is essentially our vote by the residents to see if this is something that they want to do. And then we would bring it forth to town council. Town council would then ultimately make this an article for the upcoming fall town meeting, like Bill mentioned earlier. The vote would be hopefully by equal shares, and whether or not you want to do this as a 20 or a 5-year payback, as we had mentioned previously at our public outreach meetings. assuming this goes through to town meeting, it then gets voted, we would then come up with an estimate that would be signed off by town council that gets then recorded with the registry of deeds. So that if anybody changes properties moving forward, that the estimate comes up in a title search. However, as we've mentioned to the residents in the past, nothing gets charged to any of the residents until the project has been finished. Once this goes through and we have our estimate in place, that's been recorded and we can start construction, the hope would be that next year we could start looking at putting this out for bid. The engineering department through Public Works would act as the general contractor. We would try to do the work with similar projects we're already doing in town. We would go through Mass General Law 3039M like we do for all our projects, and then we would schedule and run the construction. Once the project is finished, and we have our final closeout, we go back to town council with our final cost for the project. They approve it. We can then record that with the registry of deeds, and then that would become a certification to the assessors so they know how to assess each of the properties moving forward. At that point, then depending on their timetable is when residents would start seeing a charge back to their accounts. That's kind of the quick version of how the betterment works. I've kind of explained this with the residents previously before.
Thank you, Eric.
No problem. So when this all originally started with Mr. Courier, and we were looking at drainage, we were looking at these parcels in particular that would be impacted by drainage improvements to Middlesex Street. We were focusing on, there's a large puddle, and I have a picture coming up in the next slide or 2 slides, that is sort of in the area of where that little red arrow is pointing to, right around here, that collects. It's sort of a low point in the road. These are all the people that signed the original petition. As you can see, there's 14 total homeowners of 10 parcels of property that are impacted by this. Basically, it's the residents that have Middlesex Street addresses, and then that corner lot on Middlesex Court, they have a driveway that's on Middlesex Street, so they have to go through that intersection as well to access their property. So that's why they're included. Parcel there 200, which is a Middlesex Court address, their driveway's earlier on the street, so that's why they were not included as part of a drainage betterment at this time. There are 3 parcels on the property that are condos, so that's why there's more owners than there are actual lots. That's a picture of the puddle, or a typical puddle that occurs in the at the intersection of Middlesex Street and Middlesex Court. So I'm standing from the south side as the slide shows. You can see the size of that puddle. It basically sits there in front of house number 2 Middlesex Street. That house on the left is, I believe, 1 Middlesex Court. And then from the other direction, same thing, you can kind of see the size of that puddle, and that's where everybody has to drive through, and the water has really nowhere for relief in the event of rain like today, or obviously we have snow and ice come the winter. So the next slide I have what the scope of the work is, but while the picture is up, basically we'd be looking at putting in 2 catch basins where this puddle is to collect the water, one on each side of the street. And then that would go to a manhole at the intersection, which would then have piping that would go down the street, down Middlesex Court towards Traverse Street. So here's that scope we were talking about. We estimate the work to be approximately $250,000. That's for those basins I just mentioned. It would then hit the manhole at Middlesex Court. In total, it's about 400 linear feet of drain pipe that would then go to another 2 manholes near Traverse Street. One basically to collect the water from Middlesex Court intersection. The other is to get across the street towards a stream that's just next to, I believe it's 15 Traverse Street. the big other ticket item in this is we have some significant ledge in the area that we have to be concerned about, that we may need to excavate and remove. We're going to put in a head wall down at that culvert, and then we're going to have some pavement that we're going to have to replace along this project. It'll be at the intersection of Middlesex Court and Middlesex Street, and then the actual trench going down Middlesex Court. We had talked with the residents about repaving the entire roadway, but the consensus was to focus just on the drainage. Prior to meeting with the residents, we did probe the road to make sure we had a path of travel for this drainage pipe, and we do. We took about, I want to say about 20 probes down the Middlesex Street and Middlesex Court to find out how deep the ledge is. But just to be on the safe side, we're still going to probably do some test pits where the structures are anticipated to be, where those obviously go deeper than the pipes, just to make sure that they'll fit, and that, you know, if we have to clear more ledge, we have to clear more ledge. The last thing I'll show here is, or the second to last thing I'll show here is, this is essentially what the project would look like. At the top right corner of the screen, that's where the 2 catch basins would be going, that I had mentioned before, between houses 2 Middlesex Street and 1 Middlesex Court. You can kind of see how the drain pipe would go from across the street to here, down into the intersection, down Middlesex Court. It would cut across Middlesex Court towards that sidewalk, and then down this hillside to where it would meet this stream. If we were to proceed with this project, DPW would also consider looking at the drainage just up here on Traverse Street at the same time. But that would be kept separate from the cost of the betterment if the town were to go and do that. We keep everything separate. That wouldn't be included with the residents. Down here, you can see the profile of approximately how the pipe would look, with where we approximately believe there might be ledge and other utilities in the roadway that we have to contend with. Lastly, as I mentioned before, the cost is approximately $250,000 estimated. These are all the owners that would be affiliated with the project, the 14 owners. Each one would pick up approximately 7% of the share of the cost of the project, which is estimated to be $17,857.14 each. That amount, like I said before, would either be spread over 5 or 20 years. Even if it's agreed to that it would be 20 years, the residents could pay for that early if they so choose. It's more the way the article would be written at town meeting that would say along the lines of, we're requesting $250,000 for the drainage betterment on Middlesex Street, where each resident would be paying by equal shares over 20 years, for instance, if that's what the vote ends up going as, just as an example. And I know I went a little quick, but I believe that's really all I got for now. I don't know if there's any questions from the residents or from the committee.
Thanks, Eric, for that. I appreciate it.
No problem, Chris.
Any discussion from the board before I open it up to the residents?
No, it sounds good. You broke it down pretty well, speaking personally.
Chris, I'm all set. I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I'm
Nothing
all
from
set
Elena?
as well, Chris.
Shane?
All set, thank
Okay.
you.
I know we've got a lot of participants on this call, so if you'd like to speak in regards to this betterment article, you're more than welcome to. If you could please hit the raise your hand icon on your Zoom, it would be a lot easier for me to kind of make sure I get everybody. Start with.
All right.
I can just go down the list too.
Well, I mean, Chris, if they don't have comments, I mean, we've had a lot of outreach out here, just so you know. I mean, they're very
Okay.
plugged in on all of this. So,
Well,
I mean, maybe we could go to next steps on how this works.
Well, I guess for my next question too, I have a question, Bill. For the
Yeah.
for the financing for 5 years or 25 years, what
Mhm.
was the residents' feedback? What did most of these residents want? Because really, they're
Well,
they're paying
I'm
the bill.
assuming they'd want to go cheaper. So they'd
Yeah.
want to spread it out over the 20. That's typically what they all do. But the way we typically
Okay.
set this up is that we'll have a ballot that goes out to each of the residents, and that gets returned back to our office. Within that ballot, it says they're either for or against the project, and then what they would prefer for the payback period. 50% or above moves forward, whether it moves forward as a betterment project and goes to town meeting, or if it goes in what the time frame for the payback is. So, we just do a majority rule. In this case, it's an even 14, so we're going to do 50% or above. So 7 folks saying yes means we're moving forward.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. We do have one person raising their hand, so I'd like to get to him. Jonathan Courier.
Yeah, hi.
Go ahead, sir.
Just want to clarify there. We're going to vote with the ballots, but what if, say, anything under the 14 does not come in? What happens there?
So
No
we
or
need
yes?
7. Yep. So if I don't get a ballot, I count that as a 0 or a no, right? So if I would need 7 ballots to be returned at a minimum to move it forward, and then depending on what the payback period that folks said, that's what we would do for the payback period.
Okay, I understood, and I think we'll figure that out, but we'll definitely just try to get as many ballots in to you as possible.
Great. Yeah. So we'll be sending these out tomorrow morning. We need them back by the 1st of October, so that I can get it on the town council's agenda for town meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. It seems pretty straightforward. I don't see anybody else raising a hand. I feel pretty
One clarifying,
confident that we could vote on.
Chris, I just
Yep.
have a clarifying question for Bill.
Yep.
So if for some reason the ballots were, the residents were against it, is there an opportunity for residents to proceed with the work on their own, or is
Of
it?
course. Yeah. I mean, so keep in mind, if they were to get their own contractor and move forward with this, they could. I mean, our plans are available, so I would be happy to, get the final sketches to them. And they could get their own contractor to do it as well as an option, or if you want us to manage it. Obviously you pay prevailing wage rate, so it's a little bit more expensive. But you're able to space it out, obviously, over, the 20 years. That obviously is a benefit for your wallet. So that's how it works.
Yeah, so I mean, I would say if it was my street, the benefit of people having the ability to have it as a loan as opposed to paying for it outright probably outweighs the slightly more expensive contractor cost. But I just wanted to point out that it is an option if it gets rejected, that, the same plan or something smaller could be potentially initiated by the residents themselves who want to see it move forward, but obviously it would be very difficult to, or more difficult to manage it all on your own rather than having the town engineers do it. So Bill, do you just need a vote from us to move it forward?
Yeah, so we already have the petition for 50%. If we can get a vote to move this forward, and then what we'll do is based on what we receive for our votes, we will advance or not advance.
So I'll make a motion to move this project forward.
And I second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Okay.
Thank you for that. And thank you for the residents who participated and joined our meeting as well.
Appreciate it, board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
No
you. Have a
worries.
great night, everyone.
Thank
You
you.
too.
Thank you.
You as well. Thanks for joining.
Okay, let's get to the next action item. Item number 4, the town meeting wetland bylaw proposal. Joe or Ann, did you want to kick that off, or Bill?
I'll kick it off, Chris, and then Bill can probably opine a little bit more specific than where I'm going. So basically, this is an agenda item before you, more than anything, just to kind of make you aware of some stuff that's going on. I'd hoped that this would be Bill and I giving you a conversation on some progress that had been made on, some interdepartmental coordination, and some good things that are coming to the town. That's shifted a little bit based on, the last week or so. So I just want to really quick just put a couple of things out there to you folks that I think, may not have been received and accurately redistributed out there in the public lately. Then Bill can go into some specifics. But the Reader's Digest of it is just after the 4th of July. While looking in an agenda, for something else, we noticed that this bylaw is being worked on and that the planning board had it as an item to review. Being generally, more or less unaware of this and not having a complete understanding of it, I wrote a letter to the chair of the planning board and I asked him respectfully if they would allow us the opportunity to review it and provide them comment, right? Pretty customarily done. Bill's office is writing them all the time. But, for something that we were just getting into our hands and reading the morning of, there was no way we were going to hit that deadline. So we did that. We sent that to the planning board. From that point on the topic, we had reached out and we had a meeting with the chair, I believe, and the conservation agent to kind of walk through some of the questions that we had on the bylaw and some of the things that we didn't understand and we were seeking clarification for. And some of the things with this that we'll get into detail in a minute, but one of the things you'll hear us talk about is we're looking to see if there are performance standards available. So we're trying to digest this and understand how this may affect not only the way Public Works might operate, but being anchored in Town Hall at the 2 doors that everybody walks in and out of, undoubtedly we're going to get some public questions about it too. And if we don't understand it, we're not going to be able to try to provide some guidance and understanding. So with that, then the operational impacts, and then obviously, we're advocating at least to be able to review it and address some comments that we had, because what we didn't want to have happen was to bypass it and then, get ourselves into something which created some unintended consequences, which then we would have to, work our way out of, through the processes of how town government operates and things like that. Just regarding my letter, so what I could tell you, what that was clearly not and never intended to be. Well, let me say it this way. Since reviewing this and getting into it, our position on whatever bylaw is generated or is proposed or gets brought up is not adversarial at all. I don't take pleasure in having to digest these things and sit down and break them apart and speak to you, in the way we'll have to, tonight and give you the heads up that we have. If anything, we want to see success here because at the end of the day, right, our whole mission is to leave things better than the way that we touch them. So that's super important. But I don't think, from what I heard in some of the meetings and some of the feedback I've been getting, I don't think that is the position that people perceived. It's been stated out there that the letter that I sent was a cease and desist to the planning board, which I'll tell you all is categorically false. Again, all we wanted to do is read it and digest it before anything was set in motion, and that's what we respectfully asked to do. To this point, it seems like work is still being done with the bylaw. I'll be completely honest, we don't have a complete grasp and understanding of exactly how that will impact us across the board because it is still being worked on as it goes. With that, that's kind of our position to hear. I don't think I mentioned, so we met with the conservation agent on August 14th, and it got kind of quiet. So between, that point and let's say, end of last week, we didn't hear too much. We didn't see too much, come back to us. So we figured it was just being worked on and then come to find out, it seemed like it's still being advanced and we're not 100% sure if we still even have any understanding or if any of at least the initial set of comments were addressed, could be addressed, walk through, etc. So that's kind of my quick view of the world here for a second. And I'll tag Bill in for a minute and he can kind of go through some of the specifics of some of the things we've been looking at, and trying to figure out with this as this moves along.
Yeah, so after the meeting that we had with the conservation agent, we had Erin Kokinda in it as well, who's the director of planning and economic development, myself, and the chair. We identified a few issues. Main piece for us, honestly, and I think what's probably pertinent to this board is the exemptions that we currently have within the Wetland Protection Act. The exemption section that was included in the draft bylaw that was posted online didn't include a couple of things. It didn't include our exemptions that we have for roadway reconstruction and work. It didn't have, it had a section on exemptions for utilities. However, sewer was missing within the exemption. And then the exemption said that we still would have to meet the performance standards that will be created in the future. Obviously, that's something that would kind of eliminate the exemption. So we highlighted those as concerns. We got some feedback from the chair saying that he wants to work with us on this. There was a meeting discussing it last week that Joe, myself, and Erin sent to the Conservation Commission, saying that we're recommending that that this not move at the fall town meeting, considering a lot of our issues haven't really been resolved, or we haven't received anything back and to work through. So since that meeting, the Conservation Commission moved forward with setting up public meetings for the bylaw. First one of those actually was after this agenda item was created and the agenda for this meeting was created. So that was last night, which I attended. And I thought we had a very good discussion about the items that I had concerns with. From my perspective in engineering, not only do we do the stuff for public works, but we also provide the technical review for the bylaw. So I had some nitty gritty things related to the bylaw that I won't bore you folks with per se, but the exemptions being the big one. And we had some verbal confirmations that the Conservation Commission will work with us to get those exemptions, in some form. So we'll be working through that. They also had agreed to push this off to the Springtown meeting and to work with myself and the conservation director to work through all of these concerns. So it ended up being as a positive in the end here, but we were concerned up to, I would say, yesterday. But I think we had a very good discussion. I see one of the conservation members is on right now. I'm sure she's probably going to say the same thing. But yeah, so that's where we stand right now, and we'll keep you updated, obviously, as we work through the bylaw and have the draft. If you want to see the discussion, I believe that meeting should be online by now. And the last meeting for the Conservation Commission last Tuesday as well, where the bylaw was discussed. So that gives you kind of an idea of where we were and where we are today.
Thank you, Bill. Why don't I go to public participation here? I see Eleanor has her hand raised. If you could please introduce yourself with your address, and the floor will be yours.
Hi, I apologize. I can't turn
Right.
on my camera. I'm at work. Eleanor Axelrod,
It's okay.
Sheffield Road, Conservation Commission. Yeah, so I just wanted to address some of those comments.
Oh, Eleanor, I think you muted yourself.
Hey, mister, hold on.
I was trying to look at your
Anyway,
faces. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay,
Yes.
now I'm talking into a black screen, so you'll have to forgive me. One is we're not ready to go to town meeting. But we have been working on this bylaw since the fall of 2024. And had drafts, so quite frankly, none of this should have been a surprise. And I wish, Steve Mayo was giving updates to town council. I don't know the inner workings of how town hall works, but we have a clerk and an agent. So I would have expected some communication as to status and, consultation with you guys as to when you wanted to get involved. I mean, I think our thinking when we were rolling this out was let's work on it. Let's start a conversation with boards and see if they're receptive to the goals we're thinking about. 25-foot buffer, you know, vernal pool protections and isolated wetlands, and see how they react to that. And then we can go back to the sausage making, you know, which is critical. I mean, Bill has a lot of insight and experience. I will say when we got and I'm the one that's passionate and was probably offended. I guess my thought process in this, I can't really speak for the other commissioners, but it is, you know, try to work and get the feedback and then make a determination whether you're going to go to town council. I would love to know how you get people to give you feedback if you say, we're looking to go to town meeting in fall of 2027. Can you come tomorrow night? You know, it's just so hard. So hopefully we can work with our agent to kind of lay out a time frame to collect feedback. But we certainly want to work with you. I think my issue is we are an independent board, so it is helpful to get kind of concrete feedback like Bill sent via email, you know, with points that we can address versus, you know, don't go to town meeting. So I mean, that's how I sort of took it. And we can't come up with the right formula unless we're sort of talking to everyone. And unfortunately, it may be difficult at times to get the sequence right. But I will say, just so you know, we meet twice a month. Our presentation to the planning board on the 8th, we only had 2 more meetings, one on the 15th and one on August 2nd. And this was never put on the agenda, and Ethan sets the agenda. And the other members were not made aware of your meeting on August 14th until August 29th after our September 2nd agenda was set. So it made it really hard for us as a commission to be aware of your concerns and to address them. So Joe, I apologize if you felt, you know, offended and like we were blowing you off. Like we were aware of that July letter and we assumed like Ethan and you guys were talking and we would get it on the agenda when we needed. So I'm looking forward to working together. But yeah, that's it. You don't have to broadcast that we're not going to town council or town meeting, because we still need people to show up to our hearings. Hopefully that helps.
Thank you. We have, let's see. Braun Delavope has her hand up. Hold on one second. Let me let her. Braun, if you could please introduce yourself, and the floor is yours.
Sure, Brahma Delavope, 8 Cyrus Street. Good discussion tonight. I agree with Bill Renault that I too attended the Conservation Commission meeting, and it was a good one. Very succinct. It was good back and forth discussion. And I coming from I don't sit on the commission, but coming from the outside, I've been following this bylaw for over a year now. So I have a little bit of background, and I can tell you that there have been some misunderstandings, maybe a little bit of friction, and it's all due to I think an internal lack of communication. I think the 3 commission members, and Eleanor can correct me if I'm mistaken, I think didn't get information in a timely fashion that they should have been. And so people assumed that boards and commissions and department heads were being communicated with, and that there was a back and forth going, when in actuality there was not. And that was unintentional. And hopefully the commission will take some decisive steps to prevent that, because that shouldn't be happening at all. And I think that's part of the delay. And I've been frustrated as a resident myself to see the Conservation Commission agenda include the bylaw, but there's so many other things on that agenda that it precluded really any forward movement. I will say that with some sense of urgency, we are where we are right now, which is a very productive meeting last night. A few people from the public attended, so it is gaining traction as well. It should. It's gaining attention, and so that I'm not sure what the protocol is, but I don't think that other committee and department heads need to have an invitation so much to attend a meeting. So I think it would behoove everyone, if you're interested or you're concerned or you have questions, just to tune in. Tune in to the meeting and say, hello, what's going on? So hopefully that'll get all cleared up, and I think we're on a forward movement, and I do support the bylaw. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh.
Did we have anybody? Well, Eleanor, did you want to speak again?
Yeah,
I see your hand up again.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to say one more thing. This was an interesting discussion on the drainage. And I'm always intrigued to learn more. And Bill, if you thought this was the type of project that could be impacted by the wetlands bylaw, like we should talk about that and maybe talk through the example of.
Yeah, it's a good example. I mean, I think this one with the way we're currently handling things, I probably would have come in for an RDA. So that's how I would have typically done it. But with the bylaw and kind of how we wrote it in Concord with the current director there now, so the current conservation director, we had certain exemptions, and I think I had mentioned at last night's meeting. We had a drainage maintenance permit where this would have all fell under that permit, so that we can make improvements to handle issues like this fairly quickly and be able to deploy quickly. So but
we can do that.
You'll be hearing it for sure. At this point, we'll still be coming at some point. We just got to make sure we have the money first.
Okay, but we could do that outside of like a bylaw or whatever. We can have a permit going.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Sorry, was there anyone else that wanted to speak? I didn't think I saw anyone else's hand up. And Shane or Elena, did any discussion?
Yeah, I think
go ahead, Joe.
just because we've had this brought to us as a board, it would be interesting to see the draft bylaw and Bill's comments, or whatever specific, I think, bullets or something somebody referenced of Bill's concerns. I think it would be interesting to have that sent out to us as a board. Not that we're necessarily voting on it or anything, but since we've been brought into the discussion, I'd be interested in seeing it.
Yeah, I can do that for you. Yeah, I can include, so we've had a couple of documents that are set, right? So I have the letters that Joe had sent to the planning board, the letter that we all signed that went to the Concom last week, and then we also have a summary of the meeting that we had with the chair back in August. So I can send you all those so you have an idea of what the concerns were.
And just to circle up for a second, from my view of the world, like I said, this isn't intended to be adversarial or anything like that. Really, what we wanted to bring you folks in and make you aware of is because unfortunately sometimes, in the court of public opinion, people tend to think one thing when reality is something different. And what I didn't want to have happen was that, someone see, some of you at Town Day or something like that, and there'd be a question saying, those guys over there being, exceedingly difficult, or, what's going on there. And that's not the case at all. It's really just, it was a request for time. I didn't want anybody to think that, people weren't aligned and didn't want to do something that created some good. Because I think, everybody on the same page obviously prevents much better and gives you a higher confidence in government. But, sometimes when those things go out there, that isn't, how you perceive it is subjective, and then you retell it the way that you see it. So I just wanted to put it out there and clarify, from our position, we had a couple of things that we were concerned about. mostly related to time and some things we thought we needed to work through. We were just asking for that. We're not trying to blow anything up. We're not trying to be the bad guy. We're not doing any of that. We just want to make sure that we understand it so we can work with everything and make sure that, some of our other duties that we're tasked with, are still be able to stay in place to the level of service that's expected.
Yeah, and I think it's just also the opportunity to be involved in the process, right? I mean, my group, especially considering we do a lot of work with them and whatnot. So to find out in July, however the reason was that happened. I mean, in general, things that we're doing, I would bring before the commission if there's something that is in their realm in general. I do that. I've always done that, I think, in my career. So for whatever reason, it is what it is. We can't go back in time, right? So we can only move forward today. I would say as of yesterday, I'm happy with the conversations and where they're leading. So that's all I care about. So, I think the town's interests are definitely, in public works interests are being considered. So that's important.
So my crystal
Thanks.
ball is
Yeah, and I'd like
a
to.
little. Oh, sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to walk on you. I was going to say really quick.
No, go ahead.
My crystal ball is a little foggy, and I know I have some things coming to you that won't be the most, great of conversations, but I think being an optimist that this could be one that would be one of the good ones. So stay tuned.
No, just to reiterate, again, this is something that really kind of wasn't brought into our board before. Now that it's brought to our board and it's been discussed, I think it's very important for all boards and every department heads. Communication is key with the residents, with other department heads, and everything. And communication can have a breakdown. But I think everyone's on the same page from what it sounds like to me going forward. And now that this is brought to the board, I'd like, as a board, I think it's evident we'd like to be informed of what's going on as well.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and I just have
Absolutely.
one more thing to add. Just early on in my career, Bill probably knows this, but early on in my career, I was working in the field of wetland permitting for the first 3 years of my career, and so I think sometimes there's a perception that some of the things that public works departments are doing, that you're trying to sort of get around the rules or have a lot of exemptions and that sort of thing. But I think at the end of the day, DPWs are also a big steward of environmental protection. I think a lot of what DPW, especially through engineering, does in terms of drainage, meeting NIPD's permit requirements, reviewing projects to be sure that drainage, stormwater management standards are met and all that. I think DPWs are a huge steward of the same environmental protection that the conservation commissions are aiming to achieve. And so that collaboration is key to be sure that, something's not inadvertently written in that precludes DPW from being able to do work that is actually environmentally beneficial.
Right.
So yeah, that's all.
I agree.
Thank you, Elena. I agree with you there. Great point. Shane, did you have anything before I go back to Eleanor? I see her hands raised, but I wanted to give you a chance if you had anything.
No, I don't. Again, I agree with what Elena had mentioned as well. I think this is a good discussion, and as was already mentioned, communication is key. The more we communicate, the better. So
yeah.
Great, thank you. Eleanor, I see your hand up. If you want to speak again, go ahead.
I could not email your board from the website. I tried actually sending you an email, and I wanted to say that the first thing, so that can inhibit communication. You guys might want to look at that. If I look at your names, I can't actually send you an email. But the last thing I was going to say, Bill and Joe, anytime you can send an email to Conservation Commission, or separate from Ethan and Judy, and we can respond. And you're always welcome to show up to a meeting and voice a concern.
Appreciate that.
Eleanor, we do have an email address on the website. It's Advisory Board Public Works.
Okay.
At wakefieldmass.gov, but I don't know if it got changed. I know they did the website over. But when I'm
Yeah,
looking at
it's
the website now,
Yeah, I just
Chris,
looked. I just looked at it. It's working.
it is, you could find it, okay.
Yep, it's on the
Chris,
main
I'll-
page, top right hand corner. It says contact us.
Maybe it's the cell phone, I'm sorry.
I'll make sure, Chris, too. So the website changed and the domain name. All the emails used to be wakefield.ma.us, wakefieldmass.gov. I'll make sure that that works and bench tested a couple times too. Just to
Yeah, I just checked it. It's the
No,
right
that's
email
good.
address.
Interestingly, like if you hover over the email, it pops up in the bottom left corner of the screen. But if you try to click on it, it doesn't like launch something that puts it in the to field of an email, or it doesn't take you to a form that emails, at least with me being like on the outside on that page.
it
Like
let me
I can,
do a draft.
if I click on it, it doesn't do anything. It just, but if I hover over it, I see advisory board public works at wakefieldma.gov, but like you can't, it's not a live link.
You don't have a
Yeah, you
ribbon
gotta
on the
click on it.
on the right side. You don't see a
Oh, I
ribbon on
see
the
right
left
at the
side.
top.
I do. I see contact us and then email
Yep.
the advisory board,
You
but
click the email advisory board. That
it's
brings
not a
up.
live link.
Yeah, it worked for me. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
it
talk
actually
to.
it worked for me.
Yeah, it might be like
Maybe it's an
externally,
Outlook
it's not
thing because
working.
it put it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it put it right to Outlook on me.
Oh, it
right
did?
into a
Okay.
draft for me.
For
Yeah,
me,
so-
it's just, it's not actually anything when I click on it. So
I'll talk to Jen. I mean, she's
Well,
our
we
website
certainly should look.
folks, so, yeah, I can talk to her about that. There's been a lot of obviously we changed to the new website, so there's been some stuff that's difficult to find. Some stuff's disappeared. So, just the growing pains of changing to the new platform. So I'll talk to her about that and make sure she's aware.
Thank you, guys. Did anyone have anything else to add?
No, I think we're good. I think we'll see you in about a month. Is that what
I
we have
guess for
going
this,
on?
yeah, I was just about to say, I didn't know if you'll be getting back to us, obviously, on some info on this as we go forward, I'm sure.
Yeah,
They get
I'm
one-
thinking. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I have something different.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say, well, as we're advancing stuff, as there's updates to provide, I'll provide them. But like I said, we talked about working sessions with me, kind of on Fridays and having like a kind of a set thing. I can always send you the videos if you guys want to follow along. You might want to check the last two Concom meetings out. We talked a good deal. I was on the last one, and we talked a great deal about some of the concerns. And then the one prior, they were talking about public works, just in general, that we had some concerns. So.
And then Joe, this was something not on the agenda today, but I know it came up last meeting. I know you'd asked if I saw any spots on the road where we were missing like the only, right? Where we'll say right turn or left turn, but the only is missing.
Yeah.
And if you need me to send you an email, I can do that as well. Just let me know. But I know the Irving and Dunkin' Donuts near Salem Street, kind of, if you know that part, that part of Wakefield. We are missing the only signs on the Montrose there, the Salem Street, and also the Pleasure Island Road. So that section, it looks like we're missing the arrows are there, but not the only, if it matters. But
No,
I think it might not be an only lane. That might be why, right? Because I think they changed the MUTCD with this last version of it, right? So it has to be an only lane, like with the sign that says only and everything. Does it have that? Because if it doesn't have that, it's new. You're seeing it all over the place. Now they want like a bunch of little arrows on the way to let you know.
Yeah, so there's an arrow. And yeah, so I brought this up last time, and maybe I'm misunderstanding too. So there are two lanes. There's an arrow that goes right and there's an arrow that goes straight. And then we had the only before, and those have been taken out. Is that how it's supposed to be, or do we need to reapply the only again?
I'm gonna check that out because I don't know, but I thought that there was a change in it. So let me check. Let me double check before I put my foot in my mouth, because I'm probably gonna do that.
Yeah, Shane, we'll take your homework and make it ours now, and we'll tell you if there's a rhyme and a reason, and if there's a mistake, we'll just correct it. But thank you.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. I know we mentioned it last meeting. I was driving. I said I got to remember to tell Joe that. So there we go.
Yeah. Just on another separate note, if there's no objection. So you may have heard, I was at the council Monday night and gave a very quick update on the state of the trash strike, which is over. So the DPW here in Wakefield ended up assuming the collection duties of trash, recycling, CRT TVs, white goods, bulk items, you name it, for 82 days while that went on. I fully intend on, presenting to you guys and the town council a much more detailed version of that. But, now that the labor part is settled, there's some of the business end that myself and Ann and probably some others need to clean up, before we can really lay everything out, in the amount of detail that we want to. So that'll be something that's coming here soon, but so far so good this week. Republic was in first thing on Monday at a full level of service, as if, they ended the day on June 30th when they struck. So looking forward to that being something that we don't have to revisit for quite a long time, if at all.
I'm curious,
I like that.
did you pay any invoices to them in that period when they were not performing their services?
We have seen one came our way, but I think it was sent unintentionally. It was actually addressed to somebody else. We haven't seen anything else yet to this point.
Okay.
So I'm sure they have such
Joe-
a logistics. Everybody was doing everything there. They're probably still figuring all that out themselves, I would imagine.
Joe,
Yes.
Joe, I'd like to just comment too. I have to applaud you and the entire DPW staff at the way you guys handled that trash strike. Outstanding job. There was residents that, the barrels might have got missed, or, something might have fell through, but instantly, residents got answers and solutions, and they were there to pick them up. From you all the way down to even, I'm sure I saw some college kids in the summer picking up some trash barrels too that probably weren't expected to do that this year. Outstanding job by you guys.
A funny little note. Usually when we interview people, I'll tell everybody that, there could be a day where you end up picking up trash. And just before this started, we had some new hires, and I saw them like the first couple of days. And I had to apologize to him. I said, I didn't expect that comment to turn into this. So if you feel like I jinxed you, it's my bad. I'll take the full blame for that one. But it was all hands on deck, and it couldn't have worked out any better for my view of the world.
Yeah, I want to echo what Chris said. I mean, I was so impressed with the fact that honestly, if I hadn't known there was a trash strike, I wouldn't have noticed any difference. We put our trash out, we put our recycling out every week. Every week it got picked up. On the day when our service was, I saw the guys out in the rental truck all over town doing a great job. Just, yeah, first rate. I was very impressed.
Yeah,
Thank you
and-
very much.
I
and-
concur. It was, I concur. It was just spectacular, actually, the coverage. As she said, if you didn't know there was a strike, you wouldn't have known. So kudos, 2 thumbs up.
Thank you. Thank you, Bronwyn. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll say that as well. I mentioned it last meeting also, but yeah, Joe, really fantastic. It's very seamless. Yeah, well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. All right,
Okay.
Chris, I think for the purpose of tonight,
Next
I don't have
meeting.
anything else.
Next meeting, what does it look like? Do you want to get back to us, or do you guys want to pick a date?
Could we get back to you on that? Just figuring out what's on the agenda and all that.
Absolutely.
I'll follow up. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. Okay. Well, the chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So
I'll
moved.
second that. Oops, sorry.
All right, folks.
All
We'll
in
see you in a
favor,
month.
Yeah, we're in a rush, huh?
Well, we'll see you in a month, folks.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
good.
it.
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Have a
one.
great
Thanks for
night.
everything. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.